Good morning, everyone. My name is Ryan Agnes de la Cruz, and together with my classmate, Jenny Joy Rojo, we are going to report about Module 11. It's about capacity planning. And today, we are going to learn about process of capacity planning and its importance. First, let us define capacity planning. Capacity planning is all about making sure your business can produce enough to meet customers' demand without overdoing it or wasting money. Imagine this. You're baking cookies for a school fair. If you bake too few, people get mad and you lose sales. If you bake too many, you waste ingredients, time, and money. So you need to plan ahead. How many people will buy? Do you have enough ovens? Can your team handle it? That thinking, that's capacity planning. The effective management of capacity is the most important responsibility of production management. The objective of capacity management is to match the level of operations to the level of demand. Capacity planning is to be carried out keeping in mind future growth and expansion plans, market trends, sales forecasting, etc. It is a simple task to plan the capacity in case of stable demand. Production managers are more concerned about the capacity for the following reasons. So number one, sufficient capacity is required to meet the customer's demand in time. So they need to have enough capacity to serve the customers on time. And number two, capacity affects the cost efficiency of operations. So capacity affects how much operations cost. Third, capacity affects the scheduling system. And lastly, capacity creation requires an investment. So building capacity needs money. So capacity planning, having just the right number of resources to meet customers' needs when they need it without wasting money. Capacity requirement planning, or CRP, is a technique that determines what equipment and labor or personnel capacities are required to meet the production objectives as per master production schedule and material requirement planning, or the MRPI. So capacity requirement planning strategies have two types. The first one is a level capacity plan, and the second one is the matching capacity with demand plan. So now we are going to differentiate the capacity requirement planning strategies. The first one is the level capacity plan. It is based on the produce to stock and sell approaches wherein the production systems are operated at uniform production levels and finished goods inventories rise and fall, depending on whether production level exceeds demands or vice versa from period to period. Let's say every quarter. So what is it? You produce the same amount of goods regularly, even if the customer demand changes. So think of it like this. You bake 100 cookies every week, no matter how many are ordered. So if demand is low, the extra cookies go to storage. And if demand is high, you sell whatever you have and hope it's enough. So some of its advantages is that it's simple and stable system. There's no need to change the schedule or hire or fire workers. The disadvantage is that you may have too much or too little stock, and sometimes the storage costs go up when demand is low. And another example is a clothing factory that makes 500 shirts every month. Even if only 300 are sold in January and 700 are needed in March, they just store the extras or run out during busy times. Now let's move on to matching capacities with demand plan. Production capacity is matched with the demand each period, weekly, monthly, or quarterly demand. Usually, material flows and machine capacity are changed from quarter to quarter to match the demand. The main advantage are low levels of finished goods inventory, resulting in lesser inventory carrying cost. Also, the back ordering cost is reduced. The disadvantages are high labor and material costs because of frequent changes in the workforce, like hiring, training and layoff costs, overtime or idle time costs, or subcontracting costs. So, in short, you adjust how much you produce based on what customers need every week, month, or quarter. So think of it like this. You bake only number of cookies people order. So if people order 50 this week, you bake 50. And if they order 200 next week, then you adjust. So the advantages are no overstock or waste, low storage costs, better at meeting customers' need on time. And disadvantages are you might need to hire or lay off workers often. Frequent changes cost more in training, overtime, or outsourcing. So another example is a milk tea shop hires more baristas during summer when demand is high, then lets them go after the season. So they match staff and producing to actual demand.
Good day everyone, I am Jenny Joy Rojo from UI. Today, I will discuss to you about capacity planning. Capacity planning is concerned with defining the long-term and short-term capacity needs of an organization and determining how those needs will be satisfied. Capacity planning decisions are taken up based upon consumer demand, and this is merged with the human, material, and financial resources of the organization. Capacity requirements can be evaluated from two perspectives. First is the long-term capacity strategy, and the second is the short-term capacity strategy. Long-term capacity strategy means the requirements are more difficult to determine because the future demand and technology are uncertain. Forecasting for 5 or 10 years into the future are riskier and difficult. Long-term capacity planning is hard because the future is uncertain. You cannot be 100% sure what customer will want in 5 or 10 years. Also, technology changes fast and today's products might not even exist in the future. That's why it is risky to guess what resources like workers, machine, or space you'll need so far ahead. To make good long-term plans, companies have to look at their marketing goals, think about new products, consider the lifespan of their current products. Managers need to analyze trends and plan carefully to handle big changes in the future. Long-term capacity planning is difficult because no one can predict the future. Demand might change and new technology could replace current products. That's why companies need to look at trends, marketing plans, and product life cycles when planning for the next 5 to 10 years. Following parameters will affect long-range capacity decision. First is the multiple products. Companies often make more than one product in the same factory. This increases profits and reduces risk if one product fails. It also helps planners manage resources better. Second is phasing in capacity. In fast-moving industry like technology, products needs to hit the market quickly. So, new capacity like machines or space needs to be added fast. But building new facilities takes time, so this has to be planned early. Third is phasing out capacity. Old machines and factories cannot keep up forever. When shutting them down, companies should do it carefully, like resigning workers, transferring them, or giving compensation to reduce the impact on people and the community. Short-term capacity strategy. Managers often use forecasts of product demand to estimate the short-term workload the facility must handle. Managers looking ahead up to 12 months anticipate output requirements for different products and services. Managers then compare requirements with existing capacity and then take decision as to when the capacity adjustments are needed. Capital-intensive process depend on physical facilities, plant, and equipment. Short-term capacity can be modified by operating these facilities more or less intensively than normal. In labor-intensive process, short-term capacity can be changed by laying off or hiring people or by giving overtime to workers. The strategies for changing capacity also depend upon how long the product can be stored as inventory. Short-term capacity planning helps manager prepare for the next 12 months. They adjust based on demand like hiring staff, stocking inventory, or even outsourcing. Strategies like inventory backlogs and training help the business stay flexible and meet customer needs. Managers plan for the next 12 months by looking at customer demand, current capacity, then they decide if they need to adjust like hiring more workers or using machines longer. Two types of operations. First, capital intensive. Depends on machines, building, etc. Example, run machine longer during busy time. Second is labor intensive. Depends on people. Example, hire or lay off workers as needed. The short-term capacity strategies. First is inventories. Make extra products in advance and store them for busy seasons. Example, bake lots of cookies before Christmas rush. Second, backlogs. Ask willing customer to wait during peak demand. Example, pre-orders or waitlist for popular items. Third is hiring or firing. Add workers when it's busy. Lay off when it's low. Fourth is employee training. Train workers to do multiple jobs. Example, cashier who can also prepare food. Fifth is subcontracting. Hire other companies to help make products temporarily. And last, process design. Change how jobs are done to make work more efficient.
So now we're going to synthesize the importance of capacity decisions. Capacity decisions have a real impact on the ability of the organization to meet future demands for products and services. Capacity essentially limits the rate of output possible. So having capacity to satisfy demand can allow a company to take advantage of tremendous opportunity. So that means they determine whether a company can meet future demand, and if you don't plan, you miss out. Capacity decisions affect operating cost. Ideally, capacity and demand requirements will be matched, which will tend to minimize operating cost. In practice, this is not always achieved because actual demand either differs from expected demand or tends to vary. In such cases, a decision might be made to attempt to balance the cost of over and under capacity. So they affect operating cost. Mismatched capacity is equals to wasted money. Number three, capacity is usually a major determinant of initial cost. Typically, the greater the capacity of a product unit, the greater its cost. This does not necessarily imply a one-for-one relationship. Larger units tend to cost proportionately less than smaller units. So that means capacity determines initial cost. Bigger facilities cost more, but the cost per unit might be lower. Number three, capacity is usually a major determinant of initial cost. Typically, the greater the capacity of a product unit, the greater its cost. This does not necessarily imply a one-for-one relationship. Larger units tend to cost proportionately less than smaller units. So that means capacity determines initial cost. Bigger facilities cost more, but the cost per unit might be lower. Number five, capacity decisions can affect competitiveness. If a firm has excess capacity or can quickly add capacity, that fact may serve as a barrier to entry by other firms. Then too, capacity can affect delivery speed, which can be a competitive advantage. So in short, it gives you a competitive edge. More capacity, faster delivery, better customer service, and harder for rivals to catch up. Number 6, capacity affects the ease of management. Having appropriate capacity makes management easier than when capacity is mismatched. So that means it makes management easier. Right-sized capacity is equals to less chaos. In conclusion, capacity planning isn't just a number game. It's what keeps production running smooth and your company competitive. That's all, everyone. Thank you so much for listening.